Okay, so let's get down to the heart of the matter. This is the heart of the matter, whether we're talking about Carnival growing out of Venice or whether we're talking about these biblical narratives that are surrounding goats, or whether we're talking about the obsession with goats in popular culture with individuals who have probably never ever met a goat. And so we're going to talk about the celebration of goats and what's really going on behind this celebration of goats, because you do see this elevation of goat and the goat image throughout history. So let's talk about this. So we're going to characterize this discussion as the goat and the guise, because essentially a goat symbolizes the disguise. A goat symbolizes the construct of mask, costume, as in Carnival, camouflage, masquerading, covering up, cloaking, as in Esau, fronts, veneers, concealing things, hiding things, a veil, such as Lot, and covering up. And so it's the antithesis of the construct of revelation. And so we're going to look at how goat came to be constructed in this way, or came to be understood in this way, or has been hidden or concealed in this way. And if you were going to give the goat another name, a popular culture name, Decepticon would be a good name for the construct of goat. And as we deconstruct this construct of goat, it's going to become very clear to you how this goat obsession and how this goat fascination is tied into the creation of Carnival and the manifestation of Carnival. What we're going to do is just quickly look at some manifestations of the guise and the goat before we go into the deconstruction. And as you may recall, when we discussed Esau, this is a depiction of a fawn on the left-hand side, which is a basic chimera of a goat and a baby human. And you can also see goats manifested in Carnival masks. Additionally, you see these adult fawn-like characters in ancient depictions. And so now let's move into this construct of guise. So you will see how guise and goat are synonymous. They are the same thing. And so all of the deception that goes along with this construct of guise goes along with the construct of goat. You're also going to see a little surprise here with respect to a connection between goat and guise and Isaac. And so Isaac has not been highlighted in these discussions, but you're going to see a little nuance in here with respect to the meaning of Isaac's name and this construct of goat. Now, a few surprises come up when examining the etymology of goat, and one surprise is that goat is related to the word gate. You also see that goat is related to, in terms of etymology, the word guise. You see that goat is related to the root guise. You also see that goat is associated with the words to play. And when you think about the construct of Isaac's name, you see this idea of playing, laughing, jesting, making fun. And here you can see these odd connections a little bit more clearly. And so you can see this gate coming out of the Dutch and the geese and the guys coming out of the German. You even see these roots when you look at the surname Goat. And also Goat is associated with the name of Batman's town, which is Gotham. And here you see that the Scots word for gate actually comes from the Proto-Indo-European gaidos, which means young goat or kid. And also this construct of gitana, which means to acquire or to obtain or to take or to hold something. This, when you look at the construct of get or begetting, also has an association with the word God, G-O-D. And now we see this connection between goat and guise. And as you can see here, guise is just another way of saying a masquerade. A guise is a charade, it's an act, it's a pretense, it's a show. And so in essence, it is what Carnival is. And so Carnival essentially is a celebration of the essence of a goat. And here you can see the synonyms more clearly. So you have cloak, as in Esau again. You have disguise, as in Jacob. You have mask, you have masquerade, you have front, you have gloss, veneer, and the surface of something. So essentially a facade. So while you have goat, guise, referring to this idea of covering up or camouflaging or facade, you also have rooted in there this idea of wisdom or wise. And so while there is this masquerade going on, there is also the idea of being able to see keenly. And so you have this construct of wise. You have this construct of vise or visor. You have this idea of being able to see very clearly while at the same time being disguised. And when looking in these older genealogy records, you can even see that individuals have the surname Guise or Guise. And here you see that this surname that is associated with guise, mask, goat, that this is an ancient surname. And not only is it ancient, it's a very prominent surname. And so you see there is the House of Guise. And then you can look and see the history of the Guise family. And you see the variations in terms of spelling. So you see Guise as Guise, Geiss, and then Gise. And here you can see where the families came out of Europe and came into the Americas. And so when we pull these surnames together with the etymology, you can see with clarity the connection. And so you can see that in the Old English, goat and gate are essentially the same. And so the surname Gate is essentially goat. You can see in the Dutch Gate, which is essentially goat. And so that surname is the same as goat. You can see in the German that goat is Gies or Guise. And when you look over to the right hand side, you can see those variations in terms of spelling for that surname Guise or Gies. And so here you can see pulled together this construct that is under that umbrella of goat. Now there's a little bit more that goes with this, of course, because what you are essentially looking at is this construct of deception. And so you are seeing names that are associated with the construct of deception or the construct of masquerade or disguise or not being who people purport to be. And wrapping this all up, in addition to these surnames and these entities in Scripture being understood as associated with this goat or this guise construct, you also have an entity in Scripture that is understood in terms of the essence of this entity as deception. And so that entity is understood as one that is disguised as a do-gooder or an angel of light. This entity is one that is characterized as being able to blind humanity through deception about the truth of a matter. And so this entity is understood as the father of lies. You also have this entity being understood as being the underpinning for those who are understood as false prophets. And so you see this construct of deception and disguise running through Scripture. And so you have this construct about this malevolent force basically deceiving the entire world and people being enslaved based upon the deception. And that the deception, this deceit, is tied in with dynamics related to conceit. And so deception is something that is running through scripture in terms of themes. And so it's not just running through with respect to that family line that we talked about, it's running through with respect to a number of dynamics. You also see this construct of deception being played out in many spaces in current times and in the current situation that we've been dealing with. And so this idea of deception is something that is glorified for some people. Some people, some entities get their sense of self-esteem by the extent to which they can deceive other people. And so that's that whole Decepticon dynamic. And that is apparently what is underpinning this obsession with the goat. Because under the goat dynamic, you have the dynamic of deception. And so that's what the goat represents. The goat represents guise. The goat represents deception. The goat represents mask and masquerade and false fronts. Remember, knowledge is power. Take care. See you soon.